Uh, why do I have Celine Dion in my head? I don't get it. Just all right. So, really fun one that I released this week. MicroFE's Simplified for Vue, and really excited to jump into that. There's some folks that I was talking to on the Discord bot today, and I would mention that I was going to go off and check out the Madrone Wall as a new location, and I'm going to put up some location shots that I got out there. It's actually pretty cool, kind of really cool rustic location. I was actually looking for a replacement for a location that was, I guess, maybe 3 or 4 miles from this, also a climbing wall kind of thing. But this is fairly standard kind of Oregon kind of cliffy area. And that location is really cool. There's a really cool history to that location. It was a filming location for the original Twilight movie. So they shot some of the, I guess, the outdoor scenes where the guy's like leaping up on top of boulders and stuff and doing his vampire thing. So yeah, pretty scenic location. I got an actual like a long shot here up the wall. So folks are doing rock climbing on this. I don't know why this would be closed off in February. Like why wouldn't you want to rock climb in summer? Is it dangerous? Like, there was nobody there to ask any questions of, but I mean certainly beautiful. As far as locations go, it's a little bit challenging to get equipment up into, but that's okay. I started to actually gear down the amount of equipment and the weight that I haul around. So, anyway, it's pretty. And so I'll be shooting something out there this weekend and maybe see some rock climbers. So, okay. Well, that was the Madrone Wall. Feel free to say hi in the comments and we'll jump into simplifying Vue micro-FEs. So I'm a big Vue fan. I don't know if you are. Hopefully you are, and hopefully you get something out of this. So let's see. We want to go and npx get this project, which is basically the starter for this. I guess I could clone it. Sure, why not? So I have the SSH in there. So we'll call this. Yeah, it's a pretty location. So let's see. Growlers Vue, we'll call it. How about that? And we'll go in there and we'll bring up VS Code. Hello. How are you doing, MetaReal? Are you meta and real? All right, here we go. Let's make that a little bit bigger. Can everybody see that? Yep, cool. Okay, so let's start up the app. So there's one main app right now, and that would be our... So here's the idea. Here's the concept. We are a company that does a growler service or a beverage list service. So a bar or a restaurant would go and enter data about like what stuff they have on tap. Like for example, they may have this Ableist CBD soda I drink or something like that. That's actually like I used to go to Happy Valley Growlers to go get CBD soda, which is why I know about all this stuff. Anywho, so they go and I think they put some sort of like devices on the taps and stuff to actually check the beverage levels, and I'm sure they have a little bit of like a Arduino box or a Raspberry Pi there that's uploading that data to their service in the cloud, and then the Growler store will go and put up just an iframe, basically an iframe back to their service. So let me go over and check out Happy Valley Growlers. The Lightbot is alive. Oh, there it is. Are you going to have it flash back and forth, Madine? All right, temporarily closed. That's true. Very sad. Anyway, so we'll go over the tap list. Yes, you're temporarily closed. But you can definitely see like this isn't something. It doesn't look quite integrated. It's got a different background. And yes, it's an iframe. And basically the iframe is off to the service, which I think in this case is called Digital Pour. So let's go and see what that looks like. Open that in a new tab. Yeah, so there you go. So basically they give it their company ID and they put an iframe on a page and away you go. So can we do better? Can we make this a better integrated experience for folks? Yeah, hell yeah, heck yeah. What the heck, man? So my proposition to this company is that we're going to go and build a micro-FE interfaces. Would you talk about the pros and cons? Absolutely, we'll talk about the pros and cons, and we'll keep talking as we go through them. So a big pro in this case is going to be the fact that by the end of this, we're going to have a much more integrated experience with the host page in this case. The downside of that, obviously, is the integration, at least at this point, is either going to be vanilla or Vue React. Oh, the pros and cons of Vue versus React. Well, we'll take a look as we go, right? Okay, so here we go. So let me just show you the interface. You got this little name filter over here. I can say like Iris as an example, and it pares the list down to this Rus Papyrus Iris. God, what a crazy name. Or you can go and do this alcohol thing and kind of slide that along. And all of the UI on this is Tailwind. So we can go and add a cart. So let's go check that out. We get to check out Vue a little bit. We get to see how Vue actually pulls this off before we even look at the micro-FE stuff. So here's our app. And ViewLand is a little bit different. So you got a .vue file as opposed to like a .tsx file. And then in that, you've got a template, which has your HTML template. And you've got the script, which is going to connect and automate that template, right? So in this case, we're just going and importing some components from these free files, which are located just right below here, cart, search, and view. We're importing those just the same way that we would in a React component. And then we have at the end of this that we define this component, we give it the subcomponents that it needs access to, and then we just drop those in there. Very, very similar to how you do it in React. An advantage of Vue in this case is that you can globally register these as well. So if you did that, then you wouldn't have to go and do any of this import stuff. And that's really handy when you have like a component library like Vuetify around, and it literally just globally registers like slider and carousel and button. And so anywhere you need it, you just put in, V button, V for Vuetify, and say, hello. And then you get a beautiful Vuetify button, and you don't have to worry about like importing it and doing all that sort of stuff. So that's a big pro. Wow. Eventually I'll be able to type, I think. So that would be something you'd see like in a Vuetify app. And that's something that is pretty standard in Vue world. We can look at one of these subcomponents like cart, and it actually starts to show you how to do some of the more complex things. For example, like iteration. So in Vue, you do like a V4 as opposed to like a map inside of a JSX template. And then you give it, so I'm going to go I'm going to take the cart, and then I'm going to take all the taps in it, and then I'm going to go and use a key. It needs a key, just like you need a key in React. And then in this case, colon means, is this a shortcut for vbind? And that means bind that attribute to the resolved expression here. So we're also, for example, doing the border as an expression. And then, for example, the image tag, we're using the logo, and we're binding on source, which you would expect. So the equivalent in React would be like that. And then for anywhere, we're just taking the text content or whatever, we're going to go and put in basically a handlebars kind of syntax. And one of the really nice things I think people enjoy about Vue is that you can go and take this and put this into an HTML editor and all that, and there you go. And so you don't have that JSX issue. Okay, so how do you manage state? Oh, that's really good. So we're going to get there. So let's go down to the component. So this is the cart. So how do I get, for example, the cart and bring it in? Well, what I do is I say that there's a computed value, which means that it's a bound value. And I'm going to go to talk to the store, and I'm going to get the cart from the store. And it's going to be a read only. I'm just going to basically take the store, the setter, and just pump it to dev null. And let's go take a look at store. Store, this is Vue 3, so you're not going to get this in Vue 2, but this is Vue 3, which is the most recent version. And there's a built-in thing called reactive. So we import reactive and watch effect from Vue. And reactive is basically like a MobX kind of thing built in to Vue. It's a proxied object, And so we're just gonna, and this is all in TypeScript. So we define that we have a store. The store has also tabs and a search text, an alcohol limit, filter tabs, cart, and all that. And then we create the store. We then initialize it with the regular set of variables. We got a filter set. We got a nice little filter thing in here that we call after we do, anytime we change parts of the state. For example, when we do the load, we get the load of the JSON data that we have for that powers the page. And then we run that filter taps on it. And then anytime we do things like set search text, set alcohol limit, we then also go and run that filter. And by just changing these values in here, the components automatically, because that they understand that they are bound to that, will automatically update. So you don't need to do like a Redux thing where you wrap it in a connect or anything like that, or have a hook. Don't need any of that. Okay, so, and how to go and actually make calls on the store. So you've got a method here called add to cart. That's going to be connected to a button. There we go. Is it? No, hold on. Oh, that's bad code. All right, here we go. Taps. So there's add to cart here. And you do @ and that basically says that this is an event listener. The event that you're looking for is click, and then you add to cart and you give it the tap. If you did a v-for around taps the way that we're doing here, then that's whatever the tap is for whatever button you're on. And then this basically just fires off to that store, add to cart, and then add to cart in the store, back over here, add to cart. Just does a good old plain JS store.cart. And the magic of proxy variables or proxies in JS means that we can then react to that change and go and update the view, the look, the UI. So that's how all this happens over here. So this guy clicking on this pushes this one to the cart. Hold on, let's try it again. So, hey, that's a CBD. Is there any CBD? Or how about soda? There you go. Lemon ginger. I don't recommend it. Anyway, okay, so this, you hit add to cart here. That does that push into that reactive state item, and then the cart obviously gets notified that there's a change and updates based on that state. So yeah, very, very clean, I would say. Very clean. But it's, kind of two-way data binding, and not everybody's super stoked about that. I am, because I like it. Anywho, okay, so what do we want to do? Well, we want to go and take these UI components, these 3 micro-FEs, and put them into another application. We want to share them between 2 applications. So the first thing we need to do is build that other application. So I forgot to bring up the gist that I use for this. So let me go and bring that up. Wow, that's slow. Why is my machine so slow lately? How to pass props. Yeah, you're right. I'm not passing any props here, but that's actually pretty easy on the, let's see. So on this side, is there anything I'm doing? I mean, you just use it it just works just like a regular tag, and then you get to define props on the consuming component side. I think if you put in like props or something like that, you can start to define out what the props are, tap or whatever you want, and then you can also go and assign types to them as well, default values, all that kind of fun stuff. So it's actually really nice. Okay, so let's go off and build our other app that we're going to connect to. So I'm going to use this Webpack 5, Vue 3, Tailwind starter. So all of that, we'll go and bring up another console, and let's see, what directory am I in? I'm in the Growlers directory, so I want to go npx dgit and give it the name of that starter, and I'm going to call this one Happy Valley Growlers. So this is our client site. They happen to be running Vue, which is lucky for them. And let me just go into that directory then, HV Growlers, and then do a yarn to get that started. But while we're waiting on that, let me go and make one little change over here in HV Growlers, and that's just in the Webpack because it would be on 8080 and I'm already on 8080, so let's go and make that 8081. But this is basically a very, very small just booter app. You can imagine like a Create React app, but even less so. So all it does is basically give you one little app, and wow, my machine is just chugging today. And you can just get hello from Tailwind like that. So what we're going to do is we are going to, let's go back over here to our, wow, woof. This may be actually so bad I can't actually work. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to go over here to source and then app, and just paste that into this template. So we'll save that and go back over here, and we can kind of take a look at what, there we go. So this is the template that we want. The customer is like, okay, I get your idea about the micro-FEs. Here's how I want it done. I want the search up here, I want the cart over here, and I want the tap list micro-FE in there. So how are we going to make that happen? Well, we're going to use Module Federation for that. That's the answer. So I'm going to go back over, I'm going to stop this server. I'm going to go back over to the Growlers. And the first thing we need to do is expose those components. So we've got cart, search, and taps. And we've also got the store. And I'm going to expose the store because the store's got the data loader function in it. So we need to expose that as well because the client needs to be able to load the data. So we'll go over to Webpack config, scroll down to Module Federation plugin, and we'll make some changes. So we'll call this Growlers instead of starter. Can we think of MF Federation as a webhook for UI? Ooh, wow. Maybe. I'd have to think about that. Webhook for you. Talk to me more about that. Webhook for UI. What does that mean? So source components and then cart.view. So basically, when you expose something with Module Federation, you give it endpoints or submodules that you want to expose. So in this case, we want to expose cart, and then you give it whatever the path name is to that exposed element. So the really great thing about this is that you're not actually extracting the micro-FEs from your app. You're just sharing them right out of the app itself. And so that's a big differentiator for me between this approach and, say, something like an open components or a single SPA when you're using System.js. Single SPA can sit on top of on top of Module Federation. Do I really need to learn about Webpack? I don't know anything about it. Yeah, but I don't think all that much. I mean, honestly, like I would say I'm not a Webpack expert. I'm pretty much I'm a functional expert in this Module Federation plugin, but honestly, like the sort of basic mechanics of Webpack are pretty much defaulted to some good defaults. So it's not as difficult as you might think. It's certainly not as easy as like a parcel, although I have seen some seriously complex parcel setups. Okay, so here's what's gonna happen. So all these cart, search, and taps are all gonna be exported. So let's try that. Yarn start. And we'll see if it works or not. Hopefully it will. Let me get rid of a couple of these things in the meantime. Looks like it seems happy. So one of the things that it's done behind the scenes is it's created this remote entry.js file. So I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to do / and then remote entry.js. And this has now created this, it's kind of like what's a good way to explain this? Sort of like a manifest of all of the stuff that we've exported. And that would be the cart and the search and the store, in addition to all of the shared libraries that we put out there. And that would be Webpack and Module Federation has the same creator. The creator of Module Federation would be Zach Jackson, and the creator of Webpack would be Tobias Coppers. So they worked really well. They worked really extensively together, and Tobias did a lot of rewriting of the Webpack stuff before it was released. But you have to give credit to Zach Jackson for having pushed it as far as he did. It's amazing work. Okay, so that remote entry contains not just the modules that are exposed. It doesn't contain their source code. It just contains references to them and what chunks they're in, and then the shared libraries that they would require. And so and the reason that's important is that when you're using something like Vue, you want to make sure that you only have one instance of Vue on the page at a time, and Webpack's going to take care of that for you. So if your host application, the host is the one is HV Growlers, it's going to be consuming that remote, then it's going to want to keep its own Vue and then share its instance of Vue with the Growlers remote components, right? So you don't have 2 copies of Vue, you don't have 2 copies of React, you don't have, whatever. And that's very important. So now this is ready to go. And I'm going to go over here to HV Growlers and then go to its Webpack and then go down here, and we're going to give it a different name as well. I'm going to call it HV Growlers. And the reason I'm not doing like a dash or something like that is that this is actually a JavaScript variable name in reality. And so if you use something like a dash or a dot or a star or whatever, not that you'd use dot or star, it's obviously going to be a syntax error because you can't have that as part of a variable name. So don't do that. And then I'm going to define that there's a remote out there called Growlers. And I can give this thing, I can name it anything I want. But then I'm also going to say that it's Growlers at, and then give it that URL. So HTTP localhost 8080 remote entry.js. And this one has to match what the name in the other Webpack. But this one you can call whatever you want. In fact, let's just try that out. Let's just say, whatever, right? And now we're going to go over here, and we are going to, first we're going to stop this because we do need to reload Webpack so that it picks up that configuration. But let's go over here, and we're just like we would inside the original app. I'm going to go import and then do say search as an example. Let's do that one first from, and then whatever, and we'll put in search. And the similar sort of thing for the other ones as well. We'll call this taps, and we'll call this, what was the other one? Cart, right. What am I putting in my cart? But before we get there, actually, I jumped ahead. So let's go over to the bootloader and then load the data. So if we look over in Growlers in the bootloader, we do this thing where we load the store, and that's just to load the data, right? That's who are you? Which client are you doing? That's the same thing they do in the iframe. The client IDs in the URL. Here we're just going to do it in JavaScript because we're more tightly integrated. So I'm going to say whatever here because that's what we use for the name. And I'm going to put in, let's just put the tap list on there first. So let's go over here, and tap list wants to be in this spot. So there you go, taps. And now we're getting some issues with TypeScript. We can solve that in a second, but we'll reload the page. Ooh, didn't work. Yee, great. Okay. Let's see what else. Are there any console errors that we see? Okay, I think that's about the TypeScript stuff. Okay. I love it when the plan doesn't come together. Oh, I know what it was. I forgot to actually register them. Okay. Components, search, taps, and cart. Okay. Hey, look at that. Nice. Okay. So let's just finish off our example. So I'll change that to cart. And change this to search. All right, cool. Refresh the page. I don't know why hot reloading is not happening. Maybe because my machine is chugging at 1,000,000 miles an hour right now. It's yeah, I'm not giving you not going to give you hot reloading there, big guy. So, all right. So that looks like it's good. Looks like we're integrated. And so we can start seeing some of the pros and cons here of this particular approach versus the iframe approach. As an example, so I can go back over here, and because this is Tailwind, I can say that this is going to be, font serif up here, and refresh again. And now everything, including the stuff that's in those micro FEs, because these guys haven't overridden the font, looks like the same thing. It looks like it's got that serif font. It's basically, I guess it's Times New Roman or one of those. So that's really nice. It's a nice integration point. It has the same feel as the customer's site. So if you want to see how integrated these are, if I were to go back to Growlers, the original site, and then go in here to constants, and that's where we have our red border thing defined, I can just uncomment that out, or comment in, I guess, uncomment the no border variant of that. And then, oh, that's a good point, Ramon. We'll go test that. All right, that's clearly not what we wanted. Let's go back over here. Oh, nope, that's not what we wanted either. Let's go to localhost 8080. Yeah, so now it's, now we remove that border and they look really nice and it's all clean. If we were to go refresh this page, we would get that new code, and now we are showing that we don't have that border again. So that's a runtime dependency, and that's the big difference. People ask me like, well, so why am I not just using npm for this? And valid point, right? But if we were to use npm for this, then what would have to happen was this Growlers app would then have to go and publish that npm, and this guy, the HV Growlers app, would have to go and then rebuild with that new npm version and go and republish, right? So if you've got a system where you want a bunch of microsites and you want them all to go and get the latest copy of the code regardless, this is a great way to do that. And it's appealing because you don't have to extract that code, right? I haven't had to extract cart from its host app. I just say, hey, if you want cart, great, here, have it. And then it brings along all of its dependencies with it. So let's go and fix the TypeScript steps to see if Ramon's right that it's the TypeScript thing that's keeping it from hot reloading. So let's see if I do types.d.ts and then a declare module, was it again, whatever, cart. And I'm just going to be super lazy about it. Just declare it, taps, and search, and store. And I think, these, sometimes it takes a while for VS Code and the whole ecosystem to be happy about that. But it looks like it's happier. Okay, cool. So I kind of got rid of it there. And let's see if I make a change, if I take away that font serif thing, what automatically show up again? Hold on, let's go back over here. Oop, I'm in the wrong app. Another question that I get asked a lot about this is do you have to have these in the same folder? No, definitely not. They can be on entirely different systems, run by entirely different teams and different Git projects, not a problem. Ramon, points to you. You are absolutely correct. The issue was that the TypeScript kvetching about not having the right types was a problem and was stopping the hot module reload. Okay, so other common questions I get are, well, what happens when you go to production with this? So the important part to think about is over here is this public path, right? So in production, this is probably going to be more like, assets.mycompany.com. I don't know. maybe just that, right? And so what you can do is you can turn module exports, in this case, into a function. That function will return that structure. And I think you get, and it's been a while since I've done this, but I think you get mode in there, and so you could just put in mode dot, mode is production or release or whatever, and then use mycompany.myassets.com, myassets.mycompany.com, whatever it is. There you go. Misspellings and all. Yeah, so that's basically the way that you do that. Let me see if it even works. Because in this case, it's not going to be, yeah, okay. Okay, cannot mode when defined or null. Can't remember what, it's like args or something like that. Anyway, my bad. But that's basically the way you do it. I have a full video on how to do that, and it's just something I don't often do that. So, but that's in these kind of apps. But that's how you do that. All right. So the other thing I did that was kind of interesting around this, let's see if we have the time. Definitely have the time, so that's good. Is to integrate better with that store. So one of the things you're not gonna be able to do in the iframe case. Let me bring back the server again. Oof. Well, I was not happy. What are you doing? I have to save it. Okay. Oh, wow. Hold on. Oh. All right. There we go. Cool. So if I go back here to like I must have gotten rid of it. The Happy Valley Growlers iframe, right? It would be impossible for me to know what the customer is looking at through that iframe. I mean, you could have some kind of events, custom events going between the host page and the iframe, but that's a super drag. Nobody wants to do that. In this case, we want to go and have the host page be part of the conversation with with the micro-FEs. So if I were to say, for example, change, what I'm looking at here to like say CBD, I want the host page to be able to go and say, oh, well, we also like those. Right. Title of the stream was AWS UI with React. Oh, really? Sorry about that. My bad. I guess I selected the wrong thing. Sorry. Wow, crazy. But thank you for coming by anyway and hanging out. That was a great video, by the way. The AWS UI one was lots of fun. My apologies on getting the title wrong. I'll change it later. Okay. I wonder how I did that. Anyway, whatever. So let's go back over here to this. So now I want to go and bring in the store because I want to talk to the store myself. So I'm going to go and do store and do computed, just like I did in the other view components. And then do filtered taps. Oh, that's a bummer. I'm sorry about that, honestly, Meta. I hope you're enjoying it. But you know what? I should do one on that AWS UI thing because it was super fun and super cool. It was one of the most enjoyable things about this week, actually. Okay, so I want to go and get the store's filtered taps and take a slice of those. Huh. I have had it where like YouTube is kind of, it's part of that eventual consistency part of the sort of Google ecosystem where sometimes you create a title or you update, like I'll update a thumbnail and it won't actually take, and I'll have to update it a couple of times for that eventual consistency to kick in. And I'm a little channel. I'm just kind of surprised. Beverage name. And then output beverage name. And then split that. Or sorry, join that with commas. I think that's going to work. All right. It's giving me some TS errors, maybe even some syntax errors. No, put in a comma. There you go. Okay. Oh, awesome. Christopher, thank you so much. I'm excited for people to contribute as well. We've already got 2 PRs, and they're both integrated, so that's really exciting. In fact, I'll take a look at that right after we get done with this. So now that I've got this connection to the store, I'm going to go take that filtered taps and then put it into the template. So let's go back over here, filtered taps, save that out, and then refresh the page, and it blows up. Yeehaw! Awesome. Yes, great. I'm guessing, okay, so there's a syntax error in here somewhere. What am I doing? Doing something wrong. Just return hello. Okay. Oh, there you go. We also like to hello. So this is my bad. So somewhere in here, I'm messing up. So slice, filter taps, slice. I'll take a, oh, yeah, no, that looks good. Is it this? Is my map here? Probably. Is that, you like that better? Oh, there you do. Okay. You know, you miss a bunch of some parentheses and JavaScript and TypeScript don't like you anymore. Okay, so I'm going to go and change alcohol. And as you can see now, and this is the host app, right? So this is the host app that's actually connecting to the same store as the ones in the micro fees. And a lot of talking and yada, 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 but I haven't seen people do this in, yeah, okay. There you go about the banner. Yeah, yes, who knows? Probably on me. Okay, so I haven't seen this with single spa, and I haven't seen this with open components either. The ability for the host app to very cleanly integrate with the data that's running the rest of the micro fees on the page. So again, just to kind of reemphasize that, I'm going to go over and add the borders around the micro fees, just so you can see that, like, it's the, here we go, refresh. So these 3 components are all micro fees, but when I change this content in here is changing dynamically, and they're all looking at the same data. So that's really, 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 really cool. Let's see. So is Vue slower or faster than React? I can tell you it's smaller, that's for sure. And apparently Vue 3 is about 50% smaller than Vue 2. So that's a good direction. I haven't looked at any performance characteristics between the two. Certainly from everything that I've done with Vue, I have not had a problem speed-wise with it. Mohideen, so the JS syntax is all white. Oh, like this stuff over here? You have to, good question. Yeah, yeah. Like, it's not white here. Anyway, my machine's acting really weird today, so it wouldn't be surprising to me if there was some performance issue. I'll probably have to reboot after all this and just give my machine a break. I don't know why it's having troubles today. Okay, so where we can go from here, we can either take a look at the vanilla version of this, so how to expose components that are vanilla JS, or we can take a look at JMusic. So let me know in the comments. I'm down for both, but you know, until I get, you know, kind of a consensus, or you guys decide not to decide, then I'll keep going to the vanilla version of this, because that's actually kind of interesting. You know, from a product perspective, it's always, I think it's got, okay, good point. Could be about the DTS file for sure. Okay, so, well, here's the problem. So let's just say Happy Valley Growlers does, yeah, what did I declare there? Not much. Let's go take a look at what I declared in DTS. It was pretty basic. I basically just said that there's these modules around. So if I didn't declare modules like that, you know, that's not great. That would be another thing that we should cover as well. And I do have a video out on doing TypeScript with module federation. The long story short is that what you do to really do this the right way is to have either another project, or you would publish the DTS files as part of Growlers, and then the HV Growlers would consume Growlers as an NPM dependency, but also have that runtime dependency. And so conceptually what that would be was the Growlers would be exporting the types or the contracts of the micro-fees, and then the implementation would come from Module Federation. So anyway, there you go. And that's how you do it the right way. And then you could go and write these out so they're full, and TypeScript is super happy about stuff. Okay, so what happens when you don't have view on the page? Can you still use these micro-fees? Really good question, right? So, and that's an important part of micro-fees as well. Do you have to bring along all the extra stuff? So I don't think you do. Let's go and create a new project, and we'll call it, we'll get that, and we'll call it Vanilla Growlers, Van Growlers, like that. And we'll yarn it. Now this one is going to have view baked into it, but we're going to remove it. We're going to ignore it. We're going to get rid of it. We're just going to go with vanilla JS. So the first thing we need to do is go over here to our Webpack, put it on 8082. And then I'm going to get rid of a bunch of view stuff. I'm going to get rid of that. No more view for you. And what else do I need to get rid of? No more view for you. No more view loader. No more view loader plugin. None of that. No view for you. So that's basically unviewing the app. And then over here in bootloader, we are going to get rid of this create, and we're going to get rid of that. Okay. And then the only thing we need to do is add in the template. Let's go back over to our gist. Get our raw template again, and then go into our index file, which has our div ID app, and put it in there. And just to make sure that we know that this is this, we'll call this the vanilla growler shop. I was talking with somebody a couple of days ago, and I was saying, like, the reason I do so much editing on my videos is I'm a terrible typist, just absolutely abysmal typist. I don't know why. I've been doing this for so many years, and yet I'm a terrible typist. So anyway, so vanilla growler shop is on 8082. We can go and make any changes we want to, kind of show off that. But there's no view on this page at all. Like, there's nothing's running in view, any of that. So how would we then go and use these micro-fees if there's no view on this page, right? So that's a problem. So let's go over here, and we'll take a look at some components that are already pre-baked. And they're called vanilla cart, like, for example. And vanilla cart just brings in create app. It brings in the cart, and then it does create app with the cart on the given selector. And so it returns a function. That function takes a selector, and then we mount that cart on that selector. And that's it. Same thing with search, same thing with taps, basically just all the same things. Basically, view is hidden behind this function, and then we give this function out to any JavaScript page, any page that has JavaScript on it, and it can then create these micro-fees, and it doesn't have any idea that the micro-fee is implemented in view, which is super cool. So the only thing we need to do to get those out there is to expose those files as well. So I'll copy those, and I'll change this to JS, and I'll go in and add vanilla. Vanilla. See how bad of a typist I am? It's awful. My God. All right, there we go. So there you go. Now those are all exposed once I do the yarn start. And I'll go back over here. And again, we got to bring in that remote. So let's go back over to our Webpack in our vanilla side and bring in that remote. Call this Van Growlers. And We'll call this whoever, and give it growlers at HP localhost 8080 remote entry. Cool. And then over in this bootloader, well, we can get rid of that app.view. Don't need it anymore. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. And we'll do that load of the data that we need to do, just to let it know who we are. That we are the Happy Valley Growler shop. Bring in that. Okay, go back over here to Van Growlers, bootloader, and now it's not whatever, it's whoever. Okay, cool. There we go. Seems to be okay. Not really easy to type and talk. So true. I'm constantly amazed by the people who do like have the graphics and the shower of, you know, ooh, wow, thank you for your donations and all that sort of stuff. That's why I don't ask for donations. Okay, so we'll say create taps, and or I don't know what we can call that, whatever we want, and we'll just do that from vanilla taps. And let's see. So we got to give it a selector. So it's gonna be hash probably something. So let's go back over here to index and go down here. Blah 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 blah. Oh, there we go. So there's an ID for search. Just take out the content. There's an ID for taps. Just take out the content. And there's an ID for cart. Take out the content. It's almost like it was set up to do this. Wink, wink. All right, so put in taps in there. Save it. And it doesn't work. Yeah. I'm like, hold on. Is it the whoever thing? Oh, that's wow. Why doesn't that work? Let's see. Can I find my whoever store? Fine, sure. Can't do that. Let's see. Okay. Can't find vanilla taps. Okay. Let's see. Okay, go over here. Webpack. Nope, that's the wrong project. Webpack, vanilla taps. Let me see if did I misspell it? Nope. Okay, go over here to the Webpack. Is it whoever? Let's make this easy on myself. We get the point that you can change that. So, okay, that would require a reboot. So let's run that too. Hey, it worked. I don't know what the problem was. It was some sort of a problem. Okay, and then let's see. Create taps. Let's just finish this off, and then we can go take a look at the fun music stuff before I have to go to my lovely HOA meeting. Okay, create search, and then create, what is it again? Cart? Sure. Do yourself a favor. Never join the board of an HOA. Okay, search, and then cart. Okay. Similar set of problems with the typing and all that, but whatever. Hey, look at that. Okay. And we can kind of see, let me see if we can see it when we bring over like a bigger bundle. Let's see. So JS. Okay. So we're bringing, okay. So look, we're bringing the node modules for view right here. And so this is again, we're not the main is a very small main, but then we're bringing in that vendor bundle. We're bringing in view to support these micro FEs, and we're doing that on the fly. So that's really, really cool. So yeah, there you go. So before I end up, let's have a quick look over at the community project, which I just released last night and already has two PRs on it. What is the board of an HOA? I couldn't understand. Good for you. I'm just kvetching. It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's a homeowners association. So when you buy a house, there's a homeowners association, and it's whatever. Okay. So all right. So here's our community project. Feel free to jump in at any time and PR on it and grab some issues. There's a couple of issues that are up and currently up. Hey, in fact, we can actually see a few of the embellishments already. So is there going to be a video explaining the concept of micro frontends? There already is. There is a micro frontends kind of generic high level video, and then there's tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff on micro frontends. There's a whole playlist. Just go over the playlist on the Blue Collar Coder, and you should be able to find the micro frontend playlist and micro frontend / micro module federation. Okay. Check this channel. Plenty of contents. Plenty of contents. I think we're up to almost like 30 module federation videos by this point. Because it was basically the whole year was watching module federation go from like this crazy alpha, pre-alpha inside of Zach's personal GitHub all the way through getting into my Webpack and then released, and it was a good fun time. Okay. Neater may move the sidebar and oh yeah. Okay, yes. Sure. Yeah, let's take a look. So this is all right, hold on. Let me get let's see what's on the back there. I just want to make sure that okay. All you're going to see was Twitter anyway. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so it's now responsive. Thanks to Vlad. Thank you, I think. And so the idea of this particular project is that it is an algorithmic chord book. So if you're familiar with playing a guitar or playing a bass, you have to have, you put your fingers in specific positions, specific frets on the instrument, and then you strum and you play a song. Do you play guitar, or how did you come up with the idea for J music? I am a terrible guitarist. And the way that I came up with it was I love the music theory and the math behind the music theory. And so as I was trying and struggling to learn to play guitar, I was having fun doing the music theory stuff. And I had a friend who was super good at guitar and just wanted me to come up with cool scale patterns for him because he was like a heavy metal guitarist. And so I was writing some code to go and use music theory to figure out like really cool scale progressions for him. And I came up with the idea that, hey, well, I could do the same thing for chords on any tuning, because you can get a chord book out there for a standard tuned guitar. But if you want to get a chord book for a dropped E or a blues guitar tuning, like good luck with that. And so I came up with this algorithm to figure out like all of the positions that you could get algorithmically. And so that's actually the genesis of this. And this is and then I would go and learn new languages and environments by just porting it to the new environment. Like I learned how to do Android stuff by porting this project to that. And so now this is my JavaScript port of the engine, and it's gone through hundreds of 7 revs, but like lots of work. And yeah, I'm just happy to share it with the community, and we can do it as a project together. And I think it's really fun. So anyway, you can grab any particular chord spelling you want, like let's say a major ninth, any root note you want, and there you go. And then as we go along, so you can actually, the engine is capable of doing this on any instrument, on any tuning, and so we should add some more drop downs for that. And then algorithmically, I'd probably use some cleanup in there. We can go and do stuff around scales. And I think someone was also interested maybe in taking some of these components and making basically a Tailwind themed component set for this glassmorphic UI. So pretty cool stuff. If there was a designer for this project, it would be awesome. I'm the designer currently, so if you want to be the designer, go for it. Have fun. I like the glassmorphic look. I think it's kind of cool. It's not particularly practical, but I don't know how practical you need to be in this space, so I'm having fun with it. Anyway, is it easier to contribute? Way to contribute, I think. No, hey, absolutely. If you want to come up with some Figma designs, I'm down with that. Absolutely. If you want to add more issues, more ideas, any way you want to contribute to this, we're perfectly fine with. So to jump on board, have fun. Unfortunately, I do have to get to the HOA meeting, so there's not going to be any after party over in the Discord server the way that there usually is. But if you want to contribute into this, be sure to go over to our Discord server with the Laughing Baby and go into JMusic, and then we're having a whole conversation about there. And of course, you can go over to Mohadin's Lightbot, which controls the light on that Saturn V rocket back there, and play around with that as well. But in the meantime, I will see you next Wednesday.